Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard video. Today's video is going to be less of a tactics video and more like we've done a couple of these videos, more like a wish listing video, but less just, blindly wishing for something and more actually thinking about how it could be integrated into the codex, how it could be added. And of course you will have been able to tell from the title and from the picture that we're going to be talking about Grav weapons. So I think there is some divide. Some people don't actually want Guard to get access to Grav weapons. That's not what I'm going to discuss in this video. But overall, I would say that for Guard to become competitive, or at least middle tier, they need to get access to some kind of special weaponry. And as Grav already exists, why not just take what already exists and just adapt it for the Guard? So for those of you that don't really know how Grav works, I'll give you a very quick overview. Grav is essentially the direct competitor to Plasma. Whereas Plasma puts out a guaranteed Strength 7 AP 2 shot, which can overheat, Grav weapons work very differently. They wound based on your opponent's armor save. So if your opponent has a 2+ armor save, you wound on a 2+. If your opponent has a 3+ armor save, you wound on a 3+, which means against high value, tough, high armor save infantry such as Terminators or monstrous creatures which never have anything less than a 3+, normally a 2+, for example, against Riptides, you'll be wounding them on 2s and 3s. And obviously, these things aren't designed to be used against things like Orcs or Guardsmen or Tyranids, where a lot of the time you'll be wounding their infantry on, 5s and 6s. So that's the main difference in how they sort of fundamentally work. There are some other rules. Grav weapons tend to be salvo, which means if you move with them, your range you halve the range and you don't get as many shots. So, for example, I think a Grav gun has the profile 18-inch range, salvo 2, 3, which means if you stay still, you have an 18-inch range and you fire 3 shots. If you move, you have a 9-inch range and have 2 shots. I believe that's roughly how it works. As I don't use them very often, I don't really, 100% understand how they work. But I understand. And another thing is you never really come across, that salvo rule never really becomes an issue, because most of the time people feature them on things like Centurions, or Space Marine Bikers, and the reason for this is that they have the Relentless rule, which means they're not affected by the movement. So Grav has largely replaced Plasma, because Plasma, with all the new tough monstrous creatures that are out there, Plasma isn't really doing its job as well anymore. Plasma used to be like a surefire way of, I'm going to wound anything on a 2+. Like even two monstrous creatures, maybe they were like toughness 5, toughness 6. Most of the time you're wounding them on 2s or 3s. But now with things like, the Wraith Knight, for example, where Plasma wounds on a 5, they've really fallen out of favour. And the fact that they nearly always have less shots than a Grav gun. Even if a Grav gun moves, it still gets 2 shots. Whereas a Plasma gun gets 1 shot most of the time, and at most gets 2 shots. You see? And the other fundamental thing is that Grav guns do not overheat. They don't have gets hot. Whereas a Plasma gun, obviously, it has the gets hot rule. So if you roll to shoot and you get a 1, you overheat. You got to take an armor save. If you fail, you lose the guy. He just dies. Or takes a wound, I should say. So Grav is more reliable and does the job of killing monstrous creatures and big tough squads better, and has more shots. Its only downside is shooting at light infantry, but Plasma isn't really designed to be shot at light infantry either, so it's not really a downside. So that's the brief overview of how Grav guns work. They come in Grav pistol form, Grav gun form, and Grav cannon form, and even heavy Grav cannon form, thanks to the Adeptus Mechanicus. So that's a brief overview of how Grav works. How could it be integrated into the Guard? Well, I've mentioned this before, and I think Grav, obviously, it has a natural place at home with Stormtroopers, with Tempestus Scions. It has a natural place there, because the sort of history behind Grav is it's meant to be quite a rare weapon, you know. Even though you see them everywhere on the tabletop, it's meant to be quite a rare weapon. So, you know, standard guardsmen and not even veterans of the Imperial Guard should really have access to it. But the Stormtroopers, they should have access to it. They are the best of the best of the best, apart from Space Marines. But in comparison to everyone else, they're the best in the fluff. You know, they are really, really good. You know, they may not perform that, you know, as well as they should do on the tabletop, but, you know, in theory, a squad of Militarm Tempestus should be able to, like, you know, do certain things way better than a squad of Skitarii, for example. Because Skitarii are sort of like line infantry, but they are, like, obviously specialised line infantry, whereas Stormtroopers are meant to be, like, you know, 99, you know, when you hear of, like, you know, Space Marines coming in and assassinating, like, an important character, doing a drop assault. 99.9% of drop assaults carried out by the Imperium won't be Space Marines. They'll be, you know, Stormtroopers. And because of this specialist role, they're designed for pinpoint strikes. They would really benefit from just dropping down and with some grav guns and just eliminating a high value target. That's what they're good at, so that's what they should do. They should be able to drop in, see a Riptide, and, you know, a Scion command squad, 4 grav guns, and, you know, maybe even a grav pistol, drop in and just waste that Riptide. Now the thing is it would be balanced, and the reason it would be balanced is because even though you could deploy pretty hefty fucking grav saturation, it would be balanced because if you move and deep striking counts as moving, you don't get as many shots, and you've got less range. If you have a bad scatter with your you know, Grav Scion command squad, you could find yourself out of physical fucking range. So it kind of balances out, you know. So that's the first way they should get it. Another thing that I thought of, and this is just throwing this out there. I'm not 100% sold on this idea, but Rough Riders. You see, there's a lot of love for Rough Riders out there. I didn't realise how much until I started posting these videos. But every video, I'd say nearly every video I put up, there gets a Rough Rider comment. It's not always from the same people either. You know, there's a lot of love out there for Rough Riders, but people can't really justify taking them because they're not very good. But imagine if you just had some, you know, Rough Riders fucking rocking some grav guns. Imagine if you could, you know, maybe they should become relentless. They could be like our bikers, you know. Imagine if instead of having Space Marine bikers, you've got Imperial Guard Rough Riders with grav guns. That'd be cool. You could rock like 30 fucking Rough Riders, and you could say for every 5 Rough Riders, you get 2 in a squad. You get 2 grav guns. How cool would that be? You could rock like 12 fucking grav guns on Rough Riders, and again, it would be pretty balanced because, you know, Rough Riders have, you know, grav is relatively short range. Rough Riders have to get up there. You know, they have to physically make it there. They're only toughness 3. They've only got an armor save 5+ at the moment. The guns themselves are relatively expensive, so it could totally, again, it's like, it's balanced, because the key here is like we're trying to find a realistic way of integrating grav into the Imperial Guard. If I just make this video and go, everyone should be able to get grav, you should be able to take full squads of, you know, 50 guardsmen, 50 conscripts with grav weapons, that's never realistically going to happen. But if by some fucking miracle Games Workshop did listen to this video and we're like, holy shit, that's actually a good idea, then it has to be realistic, you know. Some fucking miracle. Anyway. So, Rough Riders, I'm not 100% sold on that idea, but it's definitely one to be considered. It would definitely make them more viable. This is the one that I think my first, along with Scions, the second like legitimate choice. You should be able to put Grav cannons. So that's where I would put Grav guns. They're the two units I put Grav guns on, Scions and Rough Riders. Grav cannons, first unit I consider putting it on, Sentinels. Armoured Sentinels. How awesome would it be if you had Armoured Sentinels stomping around with Grav? It would be really, same points as the Plasma Cannon, same points as a Las Cannon, an Armoured Sentinel. You just get some fucking Grav cannons. And, they get to, because they're walkers, they can move and fire. I'm pretty certain they, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty certain walkers could move and fire the Grav cannon at full whack, not half range and half shots, basically. That'd be really good. Sentinel, if that was the case, I would consider not taking any heavy weapons in my platoons, and I would fully commit to the idea of Sentinels being my heavy weapon squads, because I'd rock around and I'd have fucking squads, blobs of guardsmen rocking around with plasma guns, and behind them, Sentinels. For every 40 guardsmen, I'd take like 2 or 3 Sentinels with Grav cannons. It's fucking damn right. That'd be so effective. And again, guess what? Again, it's balanced. Because the whole key thing about here is it being fair. It's balanced because guess what? A Sentinel is a 2 hull point vehicle. An Armored Sentinel is only armor 12 on a very small front facing. And it's only got 2 hull points. It's not like it's hard for your opponent to just get rid of them, target them, get rid of them. But means that they are physically good, It means that Sentinels will see more table time. Sentinels are good. People don't use them, but they are good. They can fulfill a purpose. But they definitely see a lot of purpose if you had Grav Cannon Sentinels. My fucking god. 3 of them for 150 points. Boom. Nice. 15 Grav Cannon shots. Ugh. Maybe, I don't know if you'd want to throw on, maybe you could make it like 20 points for the Grav Cannon. They get a Grav Amp as well. But that's starting to get cheesy as fuck. I don't know if Guard, I'm okay with Guard getting access to Grav. I would be, if I had to sacrifice something in order to get that, if I had to, have a bit of give and take, I'd say, okay, don't give us the Grav Amps. I know Grav Amps make a huge difference, but I'm willing to take good old bog standard Grav and figure out the amp bit later, because in theory, Guard don't need Grav Amps, do they? Because Grav Amps let you re-roll wounds, but and vehicle damage, because Grav can affect vehicles. It works like Gauze basically against vehicles, except for on a 6 you immobilize and do a whole point. Imagine if you had like Bring It Down, you could get Tank Hunter Grav. That'd be pretty cool, but you can't spam it and take advantage of it. You'd have to use it on your Rough Riders or on your Scions. And maybe if you took the Emperor's Talon formation, the Sentinels could get Bring It Down on the Grav Cannons. That would be cool and not broken. It would be balanced, because it would be balanced, because you'd only get Bring It Down versus monsters, creatures and vehicles, which is the only thing that you really need Grav Amp's assistance with killing. Grav is fine at wounding things on 2s and 3s, monsters, creatures are fine with doing that. Okay. So, how else would I have Grav? I'm stealing this idea from a commenter, and I'm expanding upon this next one. Grav Leman Russ. I'm not just... The commenter said you should be able to get Grav cannons as sponsons on a Leman Russ, same price as a plasma cannon, and I thought that's a good idea. But what about an actual specialist variant of the Leman Russ that comes with a Grav cannon with an inbuilt Grav amp? Just a Leman Russ. It doesn't have to be the Siege variant. It can just be a standard Leman Russ. It might have to be the Siege variant, because that's where all the new variants seem to go. But, oh no, Eradicator, no, okay. But, Leman Russ with a heavy Grav cannon for the turret, and it comes with an inbuilt Grav amp. Because obviously it's a Leman Russ. It's like if you can fit a 3-shot plasma cannon on Leman Russ, then you can fit a fucking heavy Grav cannon. I want those six Grav shots with a Grav amp. How good would that be? And then you could put Grav sponsons on the side. And then you could, so you have a Grav amp turret and non-Grav amp sponsons. Maybe if they're not Grav amp sponsons, maybe they should be like 25 points, 20 points. Because a lot of the time with the heavy Grav cannons and Grav cannons, you're paying for the Grav amp for those rerolls. But imagine that. You get Leman Russ, you get 16 Grav shots from one tank. I think basic, that tank should be, I think it should be 150 points. That seems a little cheap. Maybe 155 or 160, but I don't think it should be really more than 160. It'd be cool, or whatever, you know, because I think the Leman Russ Executioner, which is 165 points, that could do with dropping down 5 or 10 points. It's a little expensive, and so all the Leman Russ things could do with dropping down in points a little bit. So bearing that in mind, if we were to get a new codex with this in, I'd expect this to rock in about 155 points, 150 points. You know, I could see it being 155 points, and then you pay 150 points, and you pay 30 points for the Grav sponsons, and then you pay another 10 points to the Lascan on the hull. So you got a 190 point tank, which is expensive as fuck, but really fucking powerful. I don't know what names we could give it. I did a quick Google for to try and come up with some variants of the Leman Russ that hadn't already been come up with. You know, I thought maybe Leman Russ Abolisher. That doesn't sound so good though. Leman Russ Obliterator. That sounds cool. Leman Russ Decimator. That sounds really good. But my favourite one, Obliterator is almost my favourite, but then I thought of one. I got this reference. I don't know why I thought of it. I thought of Red Alert 2. The Leman Russ Desolator. It causes desolation. Obliterator would be cool. Desolator would be unique. There's already things called like Obliterator, you know, in the Warhammer 40k. But the Leman Russ Desolator, that'd be so fucking awesome. And again, it would be relatively balanced. And the reason I'm saying relatively balanced is because think about it. You're paying out the fucking asshole for this thing. You're going to pay like between 100... You're going to be paying like between 150 and 200 points for this tank. Which is only 3 hull points. Which is still susceptible as fuck to enemy Grav weapons, enemy Haywire, enemy D weapons. You know, it's still just as shit as Leman Russ currently is. Someone gets into combat that they punch it to death. All that is still the case. But it gives guard access to some modern, some fucking up-to-date, some meta-relevant firepower. You know, it'd be so... And I could... It's not like you would want to spam it completely. You know, because it's expensive. You know, there's a reason why Space Marines don't 100% spam Grav cannons and Grav weapons, and they take them on 1 or 2 units. You know, I could imagine that I would feel like taking a platoon of infantry backed up by a couple of Grav cannon sentinels. You know, or if it was a higher points game, a platoon of infantry backed up by a Leman Russ Desolator, or Leman Russ Obliterator, whatever you want to call it. You know, a Leman Russ Grav cannon. I think that would be so cool. You know, and the fluff behind it, I understand, you know, that these are meant to be, you know, rare weapons, you know, not spammed everywhere. And, you know, I think that, you know, there's only so far you can go to represent that tabletop, because think about it, like, Leman Russ Vanquishers, and this is slightly going off on topic, but I'm trying to justify this fluff and lore-wise now, because I know that's important to some people. Leman Russ Vanquishers cannot be physically made anymore. Go and read the fluff about the Leman Russ Vanquisher. Apparently there was only 1 or 2 Forge Worlds in the whole of the Imperium that had access to the standard template construction design for the Leman Russ Vanquisher turret. And they got overrun. I think one or both got overrun by Tyranids. So they can't make Leman Russ Vanquishers anymore. Yet you still see those everywhere, don't you? Just an idea. Just something to think about. But so I hope, tell me what you guys think. How you would want Grav realistically brought into the Imperial Guard. What you think of my proposals. I'd really like to hear people's favourite name for the Grav Leman Russ. So vote for Abolisher, Obliterator, Decimator or Desolator. That'd be really cool to see what people prefer. My current favourite is either Obliterator or Desolator. But just in general, just give me some feedback on this idea. Because maybe I'm mad. Maybe I'm, maybe it's just not Guard to have Grav. But I do think we need it for competitive reasons. And I think it could be justified fluff-wise. Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative and useful. And I will see you guys next time.